We're live. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. We're back. We're back. We're back. Woo woo. Oh my goodness. I've missed you guys so much. It's so weird not to have a Friday live, even 1 week. It's like we went from no lives at the beginning of this year to daily lives pretty much to now we have only Fridays. And it's kind of, well, I guess then we went to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then now we're on just Fridays. And then when I miss one, I'm like, I miss my people. Oh my gosh, how are you guys doing? I missed you. I hope you had an amazing week. It has been a crazy week for me because this is really the first vacation I've taken. Well, as a family, it's the first real like big vacation we've taken in years, but this is the first time we've gotten even away from our house all year, understandably. So taking that week, my intention was that I was going to go and take social media off my phone and just chill out and have a relaxing week. Sadly, that did not happen fully the way that I wanted because there were a few work things that had to get done. I didn't obviously finish the book in time, so there was no release while I was gone. So I had to make sure and monitor the Facebook group and my emails and different things like that to make sure that there weren't any drama. There was no drama going on, which of course there was. So it was a little bit less relaxing in that respect than I had hoped it would be because I wasn't able to take social media really off my phone. I'm super grateful to Janet who fielded a lot of emails and things for me while I was gone. But I also was working on, if you don't know, most of you probably know, but some of you may not, that I have a planner also called the HB90 planner. And that planner has been something that I taught myself how to do in InDesign on Adobe. And I designed that planner myself. And I kind of taught myself how to do it. And it's something that I have to update every quarter and it takes a long time to update. So I was trying to outsource that to give myself a little bit of freedom back to make more room for my writing and stuff like that. But the outsourcing has taken longer than I expected. So that ended up being work that I had to do while we were gone. So, oops, my phone is still on. It's making beeping sounds at me. I managed to download the super cutest little, I don't know how well you can see it with this, but I downloaded a Hello Kitty background for my phone, which makes me happy, but I'm going to put it on Do Not Disturb so it stops beeping at me. But yes, it is. I'm so glad to be back. But as soon as I got back, it was like 1,000 things to do because I ended up having to like still update the planner myself anyway. So I was like, we got home late Saturday night. I'm not sure what time, after midnight, I think. And then I was up late working on the planner and then all day Sunday until almost midnight working again. So it was not like, let's take some time off. I'm hoping that actually I'm going to just kind of reset. My birthday is coming up in January. So I'm like, okay, I'm hoping that I can carve out a week of vacation in, this is, Laura, I've gotten no less than 150 of this exact question. And yes, it is coming. It's been a bit of a nightmare because I tried to outsource the whole project and instead it's been like a lot of extra work for me. So it is not out yet. And it will be out as soon as it's finished, hopefully today. But yeah, I know a lot of people are excited about it and I wanted to get it out earlier, but there is a goals version of it coming as well. And time will still tell, as it is 4 o'clock on Friday, if the person I outsourced it to will be able to get it to me today or not. And if not, then I'll probably be up most of the night working on it tonight to get it out tomorrow. So I will let you guys know. But if you guys have heard some about my HB90 course, the planner is the planner that kind of goes along with the method and the course. So the course starts on Sunday. So that's going to be super fun. Also, any of you who are writers here watching the live, I am running a live workshop tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern on my Heart Breathings channel for how to like plan your 2021 writing schedule. So I have basically come home and just jumped right back into a lot of stuff that's really fun and exciting, like the course, which I'm so excited for. We have the very like biggest class we've ever had before, and I'm very excited about it. So that is really fun. Yeah, so Renee, hopefully next year it's going to be awesome. I know a lot of people are. Are you a Capricorn? I'm not. I'm an Aquarius. I was born January 23rd, so I am kind of on the cusp there, but officially on the Aquarius side of things. But how have you guys been doing? I only grabbed 2 questions from the Facebook group for those of you that left any questions. I didn't see any anywhere else, but feel free to pop some in the chat. So Megan McKinney asked, what was your favorite part of vacation? So, you know, it's so hard to say. In terms of the actual Disney trip, my favorite part of the rides and everything was getting to go to the Star Wars area, because I love Star Wars. We literally just watched all 3 of the original Star Wars movies as a family so that Andrew could get to know it. And it was so much fun to go and see like the Millennium Falcon and, you know, all the cool Star Wars-y stuff. And then Andrew and I rode, it was the longest line we had to wait in. And all of the lines at Disney, of course, are spread out. So they're really, really long, like 6 times longer than normal, because they've got you spread out 6 feet apart. And so you're kind of walking a long ways. And actually, I have this new Halo band from Amazon. You can see it kind of was denting my skin there. But this band is cool, but you've got the magic bands for Disney too. And so I wasn't able to wear them both. I guess I could have put one on the other arm, but I didn't wear them both. But George's phone was kind of counting our steps, and one day it was over 24,000 steps in a day. And that's like pushing a stroller, or half the time I was carrying Evie with a carrier. So it was crazy. And I got so many blisters on my feet, which was so sad, but it's okay. It was worth it. It was worth it. But riding that Star Wars, it was called Smuggler's Run. And you actually got to go into the Millennium Falcon and like pilot a smuggling run and like go destroy stuff. And it was so crazy and fun. And I usually cannot handle those types of, you know what I'm talking about? Those rides where it's like a screen. Even at the beginning, you know, when we used to be able to go to movie theaters all the time back in the day. And we, you know, those, beginning of a movie when it's like often on a roller coaster and you're riding like through the snacks and stuff. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. But it's those crazy rides where it's sort of like virtual reality, but you're like moving with the screen. Those are so hard for me because they're like, like I'm gonna throw up. I cannot handle them. And even ever since I was a kid, now I love real roller coasters, but the ones that are screen like roller coasters and stuff, I just traditionally cannot do them. And it's been that way for me since I was 7 years old. Like I could never do those types. They always made me feel nauseated. But I went through this one because Andrew wanted to ride it with me, and I really wanted to get into the Millennium Falcon and ride. And because of COVID stuff, you know, we weren't in the Millennium Falcon. Usually there would be 6 people, but because they're keeping everybody separate, it was just the 2 of us, me and Andrew, in there. And so we were pilots right in the front, and it was like telling us what to do, go to hyperspeed, and like, whoa, it was so crazy. And it was like that, where it's that virtual reality screen. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was looking over at Andrew because he's never done anything like that before. He's played lots of video games, but that kind of ride he's never been on before. And I was looking at him like, is he going to like this, or is he going to be scared? What's going to happen? And as soon as we like dove down, I was like, woohoo. And I looked over at him and he's like, yes. So we both had like the best time. And that one we had to wait in line, I think, for like 40 minutes. And that was the longest we had to wait I think, for any ride. So that was really fun. And I sort of, I saw Chris mentioned he should watch the cartoons too. They go along with the series. And I think that's probably a good idea to watch the cartoons, because we're making our way through the movies. We started with the original 3, so episodes 4, 5, and 6, and now we've gone back to episode 1, and we're going to watch 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll go back to, I think we'll watch Rogue One, which is also kind of out of order, and then we'll watch the last 3, and then we'll watch maybe The Mandalorian or the cartoons. So we're gonna just immerse in the whole thing. I have not seen the 2nd season of The Mandalorian yet, but we enjoyed our time. Oh, you know what? I have one of those little bird things to put on my shoulder. George, if you're watching, you should bring it down. We bought this at the gift shop, and it's like one of those little, I don't even remember what they're called, but those little birds, and you can put it like a magnet under your shirt, and it looks like it's sitting on your shoulder. So yeah, it was really fun. So I debated on whether to really talk too much about the vacation, because there has been, like, understandably, I guess, like some pushback from people about Disney vacations and things like that. And I really just have been trying to avoid like negative things being thrown at me, because after the NaNoWriMo and missing the deadline, I just have been a little bit more vulnerable, I'll say, which is like not something you should admit online. Like, I'm strong and not vulnerable. There he is. Do you remember what they're called?
I do not.
I can't remember either. What is you? What is you? It doesn't say. What are these little guys called? But you can I can't. I need to get him on. It's so cute. So I'm going to put the little magnet on. He's so cute, and I love it. Look, he sits on your shoulder. I mean, how cute is that? I don't know why that makes me laugh so much, but it is so cute. No, it's not a porg. I don't know. I don't remember what they're called, though. Ugh, I'm turning them the opposite way. Come back around. Is it a porg? Is that what this is called? Okay, porg. It's so cute. They had a couple different types of animals. I can't get him to sit on my shoulder where he's not leaning over, but he'll sit there for just a little while. Super cute. But yeah, it is controversial for some people, because I know that it is a difficult year, and I understand that if you have been stuck in a small apartment all year, you could get very upset with someone who has gone to Disney World and had a vacation, because, you know, there have been a lot of restrictions, you know, for everything and everyone, including like not being able to visit people in the hospital or leave your house or go to different, you know, restaurants and all that stuff. So I understand that there would be some animosity, but at the same time, I just feel like, you know, we went back and forth about whether we were going to go on a vacation. And I honestly worked harder this year than I ever have in my life. And I did a lot of big things, not only you know, with work, but also, you know, I started 2020 with a 3-month-old and still managed to have an incredible year in terms of my production and everything else. No, I did not get as many books written as I wanted, but I made some really big decisions, and I launched 6 different courses and taught 6 different courses. I don't know how many live videos we've done here on this channel alone. I don't know, you guys, 60, 70 or more live videos. I've put out like 100-something videos on heart breathings, and all of that stuff I'm editing and doing myself. So I just feel like, you know, we needed the vacation, we needed the time. And after watching a lot of things online about what Disney World was doing to keep everyone safe, we felt like it's not really going to be any more dangerous for us to go there than to go to our local grocery store. And that was just a feeling that we had. We obviously, Evie did not wear a mask, but we wore a mask every single time we left our little family unit. If anybody's interested in knowing kind of what they did at Disney to partition things, I didn't take specific pictures, but even like on the buses, the way the buses are, you kind of sit around the edges, and they put plastic partitions, and they kept us, you know, separate from each other. So you couldn't even see anyone else on the buses. Waiting for the buses, you had to stand on certain like circles or dots. There were hand sanitizer machines literally everywhere. There were people walking around the parks that if anybody had a mask down, they would come up and say, you know, put your mask on. Inside all of the rides, they had these plexiglass dividers everywhere. And I felt super safe. The only time people had their masks off is if they were sitting down at a table eating, and they had the tables very separated from each other. So it felt really good. It felt safe. Nobody was allowed in elevators with each other. They kept everybody super distant. I think it was Momo Keen just a minute ago asked what was Avi's favorite character, but you know, we didn't get to see very many characters. So it was kind of not really disappointing, because Andrew never really loved the characters, and we didn't really get to see what Evie thinks about it, because really the only characters we saw for the most part, they were on like buses or trains and, you know, like waving from parades. And you didn't really get to get up close. You didn't get to see no hugging, no, you know, all of that stuff was on hold for the moment. So we didn't really get to see that side of it so much. But I have to tell you, I didn't get a lot of pictures, but we had the most incredible room. So we stayed at Kidani Village in the Animal Kingdom, and we had a 2-bedroom suite. And it sounds like it would be the most ridiculously expensive thing, but we got a really good deal on it. And so when you walked in, we had like a full-size kitchen and a full living room. And then on one side of the living room, we had a master bedroom with a king-size bed and this huge bathroom that had a full-size tub with jets on it, a big, huge shower that had a seat in it, and a double sink, toilet, and a closet in there. And then on the other side of the main room, we had another like little area that had a full bathroom, a laundry room, and another bedroom with 2 queen-size beds. And that whole thing on like all 3 rooms had one giant balcony. Now, we did not have the rooms that were facing the Savannah, because that for the 6 nights or 5 nights was like $1,000 more. So we were like, well, just see the animals on the way out or whatever. But it was just really great. And we ended up ordering, because a lot of the restaurants are closed except in downtown Disney or Disney Springs. We ended up ordering a lot of Uber Eats for like breakfast, and we got to eat in the parks every day for lunch, but we ordered out for breakfast and stuff like that. So that was really fun, but it was really awesome. I feel like they kept everybody really separated. The only day that it felt a little bit more crowded was Saturday, which is understandable. We were at the Magic Kingdom 2 days, and on the Saturday it was more crowded, but you still were separate from everyone and the lines weren't really that long. So I think it's pretty cool. So how cute is this little guy? So funny. But yeah, I was kind of like, should I even share photos? And for a while, I don't know if you guys noticed, like the week before or so, I had stopped talking too much about it, because there were people sending some messages like, I don't think that it's right that you're going, and this is what's wrong with the world and stuff like that. And I just don't like to be a part of that kind of negativity. So I was like, do I want to share? Because I know I'll probably get some comments, but you know what, in the end, I have to stop worrying about it. So I am going to share some photos. I put together a Disney vacation slideshow for you guys. And I do 100% understand if you feel frustrated to see other people go on vacation, but I do promise that we were extremely safe and careful the whole time. If any of us, also, you know, they make sure to check your temperature before you go in. You're not allowed to go in if you've had any COVID symptoms. We brought a temperature checker with us, and we checked our temperature before we even left the room, because we didn't want to get down there and then somebody has a temperature and we've endangered people on the bus or anything. So we definitely made sure that we were safe the whole time, and we wouldn't have gone if any of us were feeling sick or anything like that. So we had a great time, but we did stay separate from everyone, and we spent quite a bit of time in the room and really just enjoyed our family time. And it was, oh, I didn't put it in the slideshow, but it was so fun because I had little matching PJs for Andrew and Evie. And when I came out the very first morning, they were in their matching PJs, standing in front of the TV, looking up, watching Disney cartoons. And it was just like Andrew and Evie, and the height difference with the matching PJs, just both standing next to each other, looking up. It was the cutest thing. I got a picture from behind, but I forgot to share it. But I will show you guys some of our photos. So if it is something that is going to bother you or trigger you in some way to see someone's vacation photos, then, I would just politely ask you to sign off and join us another time. But I will show them. So just my little disclaimer. All right. So I put a lot of them on two to a slide, but every single day that we went, I did the best I could to take photos of our matching outfits, but it wasn't always easy thing to do because number one, getting a 15-month-old, because she turned 15 months while we were there, getting a 15-month-old to smile for photos and everybody to, plus we were racing to meet reservations and stuff like that. So I did not get perfect photos of all of us, but the first day we didn't get there because I was trying to, as many of you saw through the NaNoWriMo diaries that I did, I was up until 6 a.m. the day we left. So we left on the 30th, but I was up until 6 a.m. trying to hit that deadline to turn in the book, and it just wasn't going to happen. So I needed to get a couple hours of sleep. I only slept, I think, maybe 2 or 3 hours. And then I got up and I had a lot of stuff to do. I had to change all the pre-order dates. So now Fate Surrender is coming out on January 15th. And I had to write an email. I had to post on social media and let people know that the book wasn't coming out. And it was just a really difficult day for me. Then I had to do all the packing. So we didn't even leave here until that evening. So we did not get to the resort until 3 in the morning. So then we had reservations the next day at Animal Kingdom. So it was crazy. But in this photo, you can't tell that I barely have any sleep. So yeah, we still had a good time. So this is Evie's cute little outfit and mine before I had to put the mask on, but I didn't get a photo of all of us together. Oh no, I did, but I look terrible in this picture. So just ignore me in this. But Andrew, I had bought him a little shirt that had, it says, "I walk on the wild side. I laugh in the face of danger." And then George has, I think, a Mufasa shirt. And then you can see us, our favorite ride well, I won't say favorite, but one of our favorites at Animal Kingdom is the safari, where you get to go on a big truck, like a safari truck, and you can see how they have those dividers now. So everybody sits on their own seat, as every family unit is in their own seat, and then there's plastic dividers up so that nobody is, coughing on each other or seeing each other. So that was nice. But on the safari, you get to go and you get to see all these animals. And it's just such an amazing opportunity to see them so close up. Now, we did the safari twice. So we did it in the morning when we first got there, and then we did it again in the afternoon / almost the very last before they closed at 5. And the evening afternoon trip was better because we had a white rhino came right up to the side of the bus that we were in. And it was like he was so close I could have reached out and touched him. It was so crazy. But we saw so many more animals. We even saw the lions out. They had 3 of the lions were out. And the driver was like, "Wow, you rarely get to see the lions because they sleep most of the day." So it was really cool, but I did not get photos. But here you can see the white rhinos. Oops. You can see the white rhinos there, and Andrew really was into that very much. The other thing is, you guys will notice I took a lot of photos of my food, just because that's one of the most fun things about going on vacation is the different food you get to eat. And I did not include all the food in these photos because you would have seen, you know, so much. But this was some of the coolest food. So if you weren't aware, one of the newer, I'll say newer-ish attractions at the Animal Kingdom is Pandora, which is from the movie Avatar. So we also had Andrew watch the movie Avatar because I wanted him to experience this and see the floating city and, you know, all the different things. So this was so cool. But these little things, like that little pod there, is a cheeseburger. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I had to go to this restaurant to get it because I specifically had to try to eat these little cheeseburgers. And it was amazing. It was so good. And actually the little chips that came with it were really good. And those little like jelly pod looking things were like full of some kind of juice that was like fruity, I guess, but it was so good. It was like a really tangy slaw. It was good. So here's just a few more pictures from the safari. You can see all the giraffes lined up in that one picture, and then you've got elephants in the next picture. And then the third picture there is part of the Pandora. So it was neat to see, if you've seen the movie, it was neat to see it like really high up in the sky. I really wanted to ride, I was talking about how the screen ones are hard for me, but I really wanted to ride the flight ride, but nobody wanted to ride it with me. And it was like a 40-minute wait. So I didn't ride that, but we did ride the Navi River journey. And that one was also a pretty long wait. It was maybe like 30 minutes, which if you've been to Disney when they're full capacity, 30 minutes is nothing. But, for this pandemic, that was one of the longer, because they're trying to keep the lines a little bit, you know, shorter. So that was good. The Navi River journey was really, really cool, and we enjoyed it. Evie fell asleep in my arms while we were in line for that one. So she missed most of the actual ride because she was sleeping on me, but I was glad she got a good sleep in. And then this was the tree that was outside the front of the Animal Kingdom, which I thought was really cool because look how high that is compared to Andrew. It was so, so cool. I really loved it. So this is day 2. I got a couple good pictures. Now, Evie is in a stage where she will not let me put anything on her head. So this little Mickey ear headband was like, it was on and then right back off of her. But I had to get at least one photo. So I was trying to like trick her and distract her. And of course, in that one picture, Andrew was not looking, but the other picture is really cute. She also immediately took these little leg warmers off. I don't know why these maybe were a little bit tighter, but Andrew and George had exactly matching shirts, and this was mine, but I did not get a photo of all of us, and it was cold. It was like 45 degrees, and so we all were like pretty bundled up by the time we got to Disney. But this is a fun little picture of Andrew outside the Winnie the Pooh ride, which was the first ride that he ever rode at Disney when he was 4 years old. And then this is Evie inside Cinderella's castle, where we had lunch that day. And this is her little face like when Cinderella came out. So we did, as you can see in this photo, we did get to see Cinderella, but she didn't go, like usually, because we've eaten at Cinderella's castle before, they don't, they'll usually have like lots of princesses there. I think last time we were there, it was Cinderella and Jasmine and Ariel and Snow White were all there. But because of the COVID stuff, they weren't there, but they were like, oh, there's going to be a special guest. And so Cinderella did come out a couple of times, but she just stood like kind of up in the back and she didn't come over, but it was still pretty fun. And I think this turned out to be a pretty good picture of Andrew. He's just such a cutie. His hair's getting so long again. And in this photo, it was just so funny. I had to get a picture of me and Evie because she was like, she kept doing this face, like looking at everything, the stained glass windows and all the, I mean, it was just really fun. So this is a little cute little picture of us. So Evie was Cinderella wearing a mask? No, she wasn't wearing a mask, and she stayed far from everybody else, but all the servers and stuff were actually wearing masks, and some of them were also wearing face guards, like the plastic guards, but Cinderella was not wearing a mask. She was just, and none of the characters that I saw were when they were up on the like in the parades and things like that, but they never got close to anybody. Like this was the closest she got, was to that woman standing or sitting down there. And that's still probably like 10 feet or more away. So her eyes do look really cool in that. And her eyes are brown, kind of like mine, but they look almost blue in that photo. One of Andrew's desserts, or the dessert that Andrew got there, was this cool thing where you get to make your own cupcake. So it comes with icing and little beads and like sugar, like to sprinkle blue sugar on. And he spent like 30 minutes making his little cupcake, which was really, really fun. And then, of course, I had to take a photo of my dessert, which was this chocolate mousse cake. And the thing on top was made of white chocolate, and it's a little clock, which I thought was neat. And then the other picture is Andrew and I about to get on the teacups, which he wanted to ride so much. And it was, on the teacups, they spin anyway, but they have like a little disc in the middle that you can make them spin faster. And he was making it spin so crazy fast. It was really, really fun. And then we did get one kind of family photo. You can see it was a little bit more overcast and cold that day, but here's kind of a family, well, not family photo, but me, I was carrying Evie in my carrier, and I did get a picture of George and I with the castle. So that was fun. And then we came back to the room for a little while. They don't have the park hopper, but I think they said they're reopening the park hopper, which means that you can go from one park to another on the same day. But when we were there, you had to pick your park, and that was the only day you could go to that, or you had to only go to that park, but you could come and go. So in that second picture, that was, we went down to look at the animals that were there kind of at sunset. And it was so neat. Like, this is just a picture of some of the like antelope that were there, but we watched the zebras running around and playing together. And we watched the giraffe actually sat down, which you don't see giraffes sit down so often as far as I've ever seen. And there were several other, like I forget what type of cattle with these giant tusks or something. This is probably not the right word. I'm going to take this little guy off my shoulder because he's kind of falling anyway. But George, I know he's got to hide anyway with his mask, right? He was hiding. It wasn't a caribou. It was like a something cattle. I can't remember, but they were like giant cows, basically African cows with huge horns. I don't know. I'm not describing it very well, but we got to see a lot of really cool animals that were coming out and around at sunset. And this, like I said, we didn't get one of the rooms that was right on the savannah, but we were able to go down there and look, and there was like nobody else down there. But then we went back to the thing that night. It wasn't water buffalo. Like, it's literally called something cattle. Like, their names was something cattle. But I can't tell you what it is. But it may have been another name for water buffalo. Now, the thing I was showing you, that picture, those were antelopes, but I didn't get a picture of the cattle. But it could be another name for water buffalo. I don't know, you guys. I'm not good with animals. But this was what Main Street looked like from Wilson Volleyball. This is what Main Street looked like on the way out of Disney. Everything was lit up, and you can see there from the crowds that this, like, if you guys have ever been there at Christmas, I've never been at Christmas, but even just like a normal lower crowd day, this is still really low compared to what Disney is usually like. So I felt like it wasn't super crowded. Yes, maybe in Coley Cattle, it could be something like that. Something like that, maybe. But it was really, really cool to see everything all decorated. And then Andrew, you can see here, we went back at night for just, we were only there for like an hour and a half for the evening time, because we were like, well, let's just go back, and everybody kind of got a nap, and then we went back. And we got to ride Pirates of the Caribbean and the Aladdin and, you know, some other stuff like that. So after we came out of Pirates of the Caribbean, he wanted to buy this sword. So he and I were like, he bought a scimitar and a sword. And so we were like playing out in the line, because we wanted to go to the Starbucks and stuff outside of, like, on Main Street Disney. And so we had to wait in line for it. And we each got to pick out some ears if we wanted them. So I chose the ears you saw that have the peppermint candy on them. Andrew chose the love ears with the rainbow, and I think they looked super cute. And then here is a photo of at least the three of us. George was taking a photo, and now it's like they do have some photographers taking pictures, but we didn't, with the masks and everything, I didn't want to pay the money to get the memory maker stuff. And you can't really ask other people to take photos of your family, because you don't want people touching your phone and all that stuff. So we didn't get to get like family photos, but it was so cool to see the castle at night like this. It was just really neat. But it was pretty cold when we were there for Disney. But when we went to the Starbucks, this is the dessert that I got. I have a little bit of a funny story about this one, because they only had a couple of different desserts at the Starbucks. One of them was this amazing like Christmas tree cupcake, and the other one was this giant like Mickey ear cinnamon bun. So Andrew and George each got a cinnamon bun. I got the cupcake, but the cupcake was so tall it wouldn't fit in the little container. So I took a picture of it. You couldn't eat it when you were there at the Starbucks. You had to take it out, because they don't have places for you to sit and you can't take your mask off. But so I had to take a photo of it, and then I had to squish it into the container, because we had to take it on the bus to take it home. But I wasn't really paying attention. I just thought it was like a Christmas tree cookie or cupcake. So we get back to the room, and we were like kind of eating, and George was hanging out with the baby for a little bit. And I had taken a fork, and I was just like digging into the cupcake, because it's so big, you know, I had to like, you know, and he comes out and he's like, "What are you doing? Are you just eating that cupcake with a fork?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "It's like artisanal. There's a Mickey inside of there." I was like, "What?" So I had not seen it, but he said that inside the Starbucks, there were all these signs about how if you cut into the middle of the cupcake, there is a Mickey head. And I didn't even know. So here I am just like digging into it all with a fork. So I did actually get to cut the other half of it, and there I got to finally see the Mickey head. But he was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just started digging into this. You're supposed to see the pretty Mickey." So the Mickey inside was red velvet cake, y'all. It was so good. And these little ornaments on the cupcake were made of pure sugar. Like, it was just pure sugar. I thought it was going to be like an almond or something. Yeah. Oh my gosh, could you cut it? I guess you could cut it the wrong way. Interesting. Maybe I just got lucky. I don't know. It was really funny. So day 3, we went to Epcot. And this day we reused Evie's little Snow White outfit. Obviously, you can tell from our bare arms there that it was not as cold that day. So the first 2 days were kind of cold for Florida, but then the next few days were really nice, like 65 to 75 degrees, which was perfect. So we had little sort of Snow White outfits for ourselves. So Evie had a Snow White costume type thing that I actually got from the Disney store online, and that was her Halloween costume this year. And then I had a shirt that said "Rotten to the Core," which is kind of from the Descendants, the Evie character, but it's kind of like Evil Queen, right? So then, but then I have the Snow White headband that I also got from Etsy that was really cute. Andrew and George each got to pick their 7 dwarf character that they wanted to be. So George picked Grumpy, which is also what his magic band was, and Andrew picked Dopey. So that was our our little outfits for the day. George says, I speak when Sarah isn't speaking. Thanks, George. I think it's because she said I couldn't picture George being that vocal about anything. George is more vocal than you think. So for lunch that day, we had reservations at the Coral Reef restaurant. I did not get any pictures of the food at the restaurant, but it was incredible. I had prime rib and it was amazing, but we had the best seats. Like, we got to sit in a booth that was right across from the big aquarium, and we were really close. Last time we ate here, you know, Andrew loves fish and aquariums and stuff like that. So we were sitting kind of far back when he was younger, but this time we got to see almost right in front, and it was really neat because we got to see the divers in there. We saw sharks in there. We saw stingrays and everything. And then I did manage, after we left that area, to snap a shot of the three of them together. And Andrew got to buy this little Nemo plushie. The other cool thing that we did, and this was mostly our day at Epcot, and man, did we walk. This was the day we walked like 25,000 steps. It was insane. Was for the Festival of Holidays, because Epcot has all the different countries, they had this thing that you could buy for $8, which was a scavenger hunt. And it was like Olaf has lost pieces of his sleigh. And so you had to go around to all the different countries inside Epcot and find the pieces of Olaf's sleigh. So if you can tell there on top of this particular picture is on the left is from London or from England. And this was like a tea shop or something like that next door. And you can see Olaf's and his sleigh on top of the roof. So it was really fun because you get to go in and you have to explore, because it could be inside, it could be roof, it could be like on that other one is Japan and it was on a rock. It was so cool. And of course he wanted to find them himself. And so we walked all around, and he got the only one we had trouble with was the one in Italy, because we searched all the buildings, and it turns out it was down by the water, by the gondola, which makes sense, but we had to ask for help on that one. But he did an amazing job finding them. And then every time you find one, you put a sticker on it to indicate that you found it. And so he had a blast doing all of those throughout the day. Also, of course, because it's me, if you did not know this, there is a shop in the Japan section that has Hello Kitties and stuff, like all the Japanese stationery and different things like that. So I got so much stuff. I got little date books. I'll show you guys these probably on my planner lineup, but like I got 3 different like Hello Kitty planners. And then this one is one of my cutest like favorite things that I got, and I'll have to change my screen for just a second, but it's like a little plastic or acrylic thing that sits on your desk, and it's got a little calendar here with all the months of the year. And this is the cutest thing. Lacey says, did you buy one of everything? I did not buy one of everything, but I did spend like $150, which I feel like I barely even got anything compared to what was all there. But I got this. I got a puzzle from My Neighbor Totoro. No, Spirited Away. We got a puzzle for Andrew and I to do. And then I got a My Neighbor Totoro pencil, but I think I left it in the other room. I'll have to show you guys later. But it was so much fun. I mean, I could have spent the whole day in that shop, and it was incredible. So if you ever go to Epcot, go to Japan, because there is a stationery store there, or it's just like a gift shop there. And the stationery is so cute. And there's like tons of Hello Kitties and just all kinds of that stuff. Like I just took a photo of this is like a small portion of what was there for the Hello Kitties. And I just couldn't believe it. They had Tokidoki stuff. They had like super cute backpacks. They had Pokemon, so much stuff. Also, when we made it to China, I tried my very first boba tea. So this was like a peach boba tea. If you are unfamiliar, which probably most of you are aware of it or have tried it yourself, but this is a type of, I think it was called bubble milk tea or boba milk tea, but it's like a milky drink. And then at the bottom, it has these tapioca pearls. I thought they tasted kind of like licorice, and they're weird. Like, I thought maybe they would like burst in your mouth or something, but they're like jelly. Like, you have to really chew it. And the straw that you use for it is really big. So every time you drink in, like, some of these tapioca, I don't know, pearls, I guess they call them, are coming up in the straw. So George got one and I got one. And the cup was so cute. I totally agree. I think it was so cute. It tasted kind of like black licorice to me. So if you have ever had one before, so Angela says, I'm not a fan of them. If you've had one before, let me know if you agree that they taste kind of like black licorice. I was not expecting that. I thought it would be like really sweet, but it wasn't. But it could also, I think there's lots of different kinds of boba tea. So, but I had to snap a picture because it was so cute. The little china cup there. And then here is a picture of Andrew once he finished his search basically for all the different Olafs, and we had to go turn it in to show that he had finished them all, and he got to choose this cup that has Olaf on it. So I love that he got something that he'll actually use that cup for who knows how long. And it's something, because I was afraid it was going to be something that wasn't something he would use very much, but I think that cup he's already using it every day since he got home. You can see in George's hand too. I did not get a photo of this, but over at the Epcot area, they had a lot of these Joffrey's coffee places, and they had donuts that were like as big as my head. They were so huge. So I got a donut that they had that was special for the holidays, and it was a Twix donut. So it was like a regular donut, and sprinkled on top was like caramel and chocolate and pieces of a Twix cookie bar. It was amazing. So yeah, I think like M. Burton says, the taste depends on which flavor you get. So there are lots of flavors, but in the China area of Epcot, that's the only one they had was that. So we were like, maybe this one is just like, it didn't say anything about a licorice flavor. It was called peach. So I cannot judge the other boba teas out there, but this one was kind of a licoricey flavor. I am glad that I was not doing bright line eating and couldn't eat, because last time we went to Disney, I was on bright line eating, which was, I did kind of cheat that day just a little bit, but it didn't go crazy. But this time I ate whatever I wanted and I had no regrets. But he was super, super proud of himself. He did an amazing job. Like, you can see all the different circles. That's how many he had to find. It took us all day, and it was really, really fun. Then on day 4, we went to Hollywood Studios, and this was definitely one of my favorite days. So I had a hat that I had purchased from Etsy that has the ears on it. The mask, the Disney mask, I actually bought there at Disney. And then Evie, this was the day, I didn't get a really great picture of all of us that was really, I felt like good, but Andrew and George picked out, well, all three of us picked out our favorite Marvel characters. So we had kind of matching Marvel outfits. So Andrew picked Ant-Man, although you can't see from his leg being up. And those aren't PJs. Those are just, that was her outfit for the day. So she was Spider-Man, and I found the Spider-Man onesie from one shop, and then the leg warmers with the little ruffles were from a different Etsy shop. I just love Etsy and people that hand make stuff because it just makes things so extra special. And I wore Black Widow, and George wore Iron Man forever and always, his favorite. So it was super cute. And this day we had lunch reservations at the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater, where you get to kind of eat in an old-timey car, and they've got stuff up on the screen like from old-timey movies and stuff, like black and white movies, and it was really fun. And they even play like old-timey commercials from movie times and stuff like that, which was really fun. And you can see in this photo, if you really look, that Evie is pointing up because she loved this. She really enjoyed being in it. George said the only problem with it, first of all, it's so dark you can't really see your food, which is a problem, I guess, to a degree. And the other thing is that it's kind of loud from all the talking. But we got there late and they still seated us, which was great. It just took forever for the bus to come that day. So we had like waited for the bus for like 45 minutes. So anyway, we also, some of the best parts for me, because I have loved Star Wars since I was a child, is the Star Wars section. And this is all new since the last time I was there. And it's like, even the like Coke and Sprite bottles are like Star Wars, which is so cool. So we had to get some of those. I kept them. We like, washed them out and kept them. And then you've got like, they have the TIE fighters, and you've got, I didn't post all the pictures, but you have kind of like Luke's cruiser from the very beginning of the first movie. It was so awesome. You've got the stormtroopers. If you're a Star Wars fan, you recognize in that second picture that is inside the Millennium Falcon. I mean, just so much cool stuff that you feel like it's like every single detail in this section, they really put a lot of thought into. So you feel like you're in it. And even the background noises and the lights and just everything you see when you're over in that section is really cool. So this is a picture of us inside the Smuggler's Run ride. And it was so much fun. That ride, Smuggler's Run, was worth the wait. It was awesome. We loved it. So I snapped a picture of him as he was like, he was reaching for the thing to take us into Lightspeed. And then the second picture is us afterward. But I think like that was some of the best times Andrew and I had just as the two of us ever. Just like nothing but exhilarating, fun thing to share, which I really loved. So that was awesome. Then on the final day, again, like I said, I didn't get great pictures of like the full family in anything, but it's okay. The final day, we all just kind of wore random sort of Disney outfits. So I wore the same ears again. And then my shirt said "Never Too Old for Fairy Tales." Evie's, you'll see hers a little bit better, but hers says "My First Taste of Magic." Andrew's shirt said, "I'm just here for the snacks." And then George's shirt said, "Let's do this." And the O and do was a Mickey head. So that was fun. And we ate at Chef Mickey's. So we took the bus over to the Magic Kingdom and then the monorail over to Chef Mickey's. And usually Chef Mickey's has a buffet and characters. I think they have like all the characters like Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy and stuff. If you've been watching or if you've been to Disney when they were regular, you probably know, but it has a lot of the Disney characters, but none of them were there. But it was half price, so that was good at least. But here's some of the food from that final day, because I took lots of pictures of food. So at the breakfast, instead of the buffet, they brought you pretty much everything that's on the buffet. They served family style at your table. And I just love the Mickey waffles and the pancakes with the confetti, which is so fun. And then I had my very first ever Peter Pan float, which is like a really like a citrusy lime ice cream with, or like a sorbet sort of feel to it with Sprite. And it was so good. I loved it, loved it, loved it. Yeah, but George said the breakfast was the best food. I think of the whole trip that we were there, the breakfast was almost the best food, but I have to say the Coral Reef restaurant where I had the prime rib, I think is where I had the prime rib. That was probably my favorite, but I also loved the cheeseburger pods. I don't know. I loved everything that I had. And obviously this is a picture of me with no mask on because I was sitting down to eat. So at Disney, you can't walk around and eat. You have to sit down somewhere. So Evie was asleep in the stroller and George and Andrew were riding the Barnstormer, which is Goofy's sort of roller coaster ride. And so I went and got myself a snack and sat down. So then George and Andrew rode the teacups again, and I think they were going faster than anybody else. It was crazy. And then there's a picture of Andrew and I on the monorail together, and then another picture of the cupcakes and stuff. So Laura said, was Rise of the Resistance not open? Rise of the Resistance was kind of the biggest disappointment because Andrew and I both really wanted to do the Rise of the Resistance, which is one of the Star Wars experiences. But I guess because they don't want people in line for too long with the current state of things, they had a queue, a virtual queue. And at 7 a.m., the day you were going, you had to get in the queue. And if you didn't get in, you just couldn't ride the ride. And so I actually woke up early. So I woke up at 6:30 and waited. And as soon as the button went, I hit join. And by the time I was clicking the second button to book it, it was sold out. So then at 2 p.m., they opened it again. So Andrew and I were in line for Smuggler's Run. And we went to, I was waiting in line, but also I had it pulled up and I was ready the second. And I saw the button. I said, click to join. And again, the same thing happened that by the time, so it was like literally 15 seconds. And it was sold out both times. And when I asked the cast member about it, she was like, yeah, that's just what happens, which is kind of sucky because it's like, there might be people that have done it 10 times. They just get it every time, you know, but then there's people that are from out of town that can't get it. So I understand probably why they're doing it, to minimize the people in line, but it was just kind of sucky to not really get a chance. I wish you could have signed up ahead of time or had some other kind of lottery or something that made it seem more fair, but it is what it is. Everybody has to make adjustments. This is the final picture of the little screen or slideshow. But look at this little baby's face. Of course, in the second picture, she is pulling that headband off as fast as she can. But I was like determined to get a photo of her in this cute little outfit with the castle behind her. So I got the photo with the headband on with the first one because George was holding her arm. So how much cuteness. I'm like, I have to get this framed because it's just the cutest thing of all time. So as you can see, we had an amazing time. Did you have fun? Yeah, we had such a great time. It was fun all the way around. And I know we'll treasure those memories literally for all time. And it was really great. We had so much fun. So thank you guys for kind of going on that little journey with us. It was really fun. Next time we get to go, which who knows when that will be, hopefully we'll get a chance to ride some of the stuff we didn't get to ride. But Andrew rode things he couldn't ride when he was only 4 when we went, and he seemed to have a really good time. So that was fun. And next time we go, hopefully Evie will be a little bit taller and be able to ride some of the things. She did ride, like any ride that didn't have a height requirement, a baby can go on. So some of the rides I wore her in my baby carrier. And so I had her like close to me, and some of them I just carried her or George would carry her, but she seemed to really enjoy the rides. Some of the ones like, the Dumbo ride where you can go up and down, she was kind of scared, I think, but she was also exhilarated. Can I say hi? Say hi. So I put her in her little outfit today. Not the leg warmers, but the little Evie shirt. This was another Etsy purchase. A little bit extra to get all matching outfits, but you know what? You only go to Disney, you know, a handful of times. And you just got to make the most of it. So Planner Nerd says we go to Disneyland every 4 to 5 years, but haven't been to Disney World. I highly recommend it. This was Disney World. For those of you who are not familiar with the Disney stuff, Disney World is in Florida and Disneyland is in California. We have not been to Disneyland, but we have been to Disney World now 3 times, but the second time we went, we only went to Magic Kingdom because it was kind of like our evacuation vacation when we had a hurricane heading here. So we kind of went last minute, and we did not stay at a Disney hotel or anything. We just stayed at a hotel I got pretty cheap on Priceline, but it ended up being pretty fun. So yeah, it was a really great trip. So thank you guys for being a part of it. There was one other question that is totally and completely unrelated. Going to try to grab everything on my desk, but I do want to just mention it real quick before we go. Christina had said, I hope your vacation was everything you hoped for. I've been super curious about your hypnobirthing experience. You had mentioned the method you used in labor, and I wasn't familiar with it. So I did some research, and now I'm doing hypnobirthing for my next labor. I'm due January 8th. Any tips? So total shift here, but since I do have Evie on my lap. So the hypnobirthing that I did was called Hypno Babies, and it was incredible. I actually did Hypno Babies with Andrew, but his birth experience did not go as I had wanted. I did not have super supportive doctors, and I wasn't as healthy back then. And it ended up after 36 hours in a C-section. That was just not how I had wanted things to go. So with Evie, I was like determined that I was going to do an unmedicated natural childbirth with Hypno Babies. And I actually made it through, and it was much more pleasant experience. And I felt super powerful afterward. And any way that you give birth is powerful and amazing, but it was just an experience I wanted to have. And Hypno Babies helped me with it so much. But my biggest tips for hypnobirthing would be, especially if you're having like early labor, like I did, every night when I would have pressure waves and stuff, I was like, okay, this is it. And I would get into the right mood. So by the time it was real labor, I was kind of like, okay, we got it. Plus we had a hurricane coming. So we were like, let's go to the grocery store. Let's get this. Let's get this. It's probably not real labor anyway. And it turns out it was. And, oh, I just snorted. And I did not like get into hypnosis fast enough. And by the time we were at George, you want to come get her? Cause she's grabbing everything and getting frustrated. By the time I doesn't want to leave me. By the time I realized that it was real, it was painful. And so then it's harder to get into hypnosis. So my biggest advice to you would be, if at the first sign that it might be labor, like pains or any kind of pressure waves, get into hypnosis as deeply as you can early on, and have everything you need for that. Don't take me away from my audience. Have everything you need right there at your fingertips. Any type of music you're listening to, bath salts, whatever, have your bags packed, everything else. And every time you feel like you're slipping out and you're starting to feel any kind of pain, be ready with whatever it takes you to get back into that deep hypnosis as quickly as possible. Like in Hypno Babies, it's a finger drop. So just don't give up on yourself and say, okay, I'm going to get back to this place, because it gets very easy if you slip out of hypnosis to be like, it hurts too bad, I want medicine. So that's kind of my biggest 2 tips, but I'm definitely wishing you the best. Christina, is that who it was?
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that's really fun. So I saw Lacey had asked, how's your sister doing? So my sister had a hysterectomy and she is doing much better. Thank goodness. Lacey, I did not see your update, but please let us know how you're doing. I'm glad to see you here. Surgery is tough, especially in these days and times. But yeah, my sister is doing extremely well. And after the year she's had, she needed this surgery and it really has been good for her. And she actually even won like Teacher of the Month at her school, because even despite her surgery, she was still virtually teaching, even right after surgery. So she's a champion for sure. So that was cool. Renee says, I snorted on the phone with a client once. Yeah, that wasn't fun. It was funny. I did not mean to snort, but George always points it out when I do, because it does happen. But that's what I had just on the 3rd, still in recovery, but I'm doing better. Yeah, I know it takes time to recover from that, like 6 weeks or so. So that is tough, I know. Vanessa said, are you still working on Fate's Surrender? And I am. It is most likely going to be book 3 of 4, because as I started, if you missed my NaNoWriMo diaries, I'm pretty sure the reason this book did not come together the way and as fast as I wanted it to was because I was trying to fit too much into one book. And I'm pretty sure, as George and I were talking about it on Monday morning, when I knew I was going to miss the deadline and I just could not force it to come together, I was like, what am I going to do? And we started talking through it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know I know what happened is that I'm trying to fit 2 climaxes into this book. So long story short, there's probably going to be some 4th book in this series, and hopefully everybody is feeling good about that instead of disappointed, because it's going to be good for it, and there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff happening. But I'm still working on it, but I'm hoping that I can finish it in the next week or so that I can also get back to work on The Witch's Door. So I will keep you guys updated on whether that is going to get pushed back at all. I think it's going to be fine to keep planning to start it on January 1st, but at most it'll get pushed back a couple of weeks until Fate Surrender comes out. But I'll keep you guys updated. Just try to stay flexible. And you know, it's kind of a tough thing, because sometimes your productivity plans and, you know, like what you plan on a calendar and what your muse wants to do, it just doesn't add up. And it's like, I could be as organized as I want to be, but I can't force a story to come together any faster than it does. And if I had realized this book was going to have issues, I never would have put it up on pre-order at all anyway. And it just so happened that as I worked through the edits, the truth of what this book needed to be came out, and there was just no way to hit the deadline. So this is kind of where it stands. I did see somebody asked earlier what comes after. So Fate Surrender comes now. Now I'm going to have to kind of be looking at my 2021 schedule, because I don't know when I'll be writing book 4, but I don't want to wait. So I don't know exactly how it will be, but I also don't want to miss my pre-order for Vengeful Darkness. So my plan is going to kind of evolve. Tomorrow I am doing a live workshop over on my Heart Breathings channel. If you're a writer, come join us. Or if you're just planning anything, types of projects in a master calendar for 2021, come join us. There's a free download that goes along with it, and I'm going to be kind of walking you through the process. But I'm going to be actually working on my plan next or tomorrow also. But basically, now it's looking like my hopes for 2021 are going to be, obviously, January 15th, Fate Surrender will come out. All of the pre-orders at Amazon were canceled. That's just the way Amazon does it. They won't let us push it back more than once, and only 30 days. So there was just no way to get that, and they canceled it. So that will just be coming out, but you can still pre-order it everywhere else. And then The Witch's Door will also be coming out. So that I'll start reading live here, and the finished book will probably be coming out in about March. And then Vengeful Darkness will be out in May. At that point, I'm hoping to finish out the last of the Eternal Sorrows series, but I don't even have a title for that book yet. And I've got some work to do over this next week to make sure if there's going to be a 4th book or what. So I will keep you guys updated on that. Beyond that, I just don't know yet. There's probably going to be a 3rd book in the Witch's Key series. So I'd love to write that next year, but I also would really love to write the final book in the Demon series next year. And that's kind of what's all on my plate for next year. And we'll just see kind of how it all plays out, you know. And I'm really focusing on taking care of myself and realizing after this whole experience with this book and trying to push and rush it and get it, I wasn't rushing it. It didn't come together as fast as I wanted it to. And because I had the pre-order, it was kind of like panic because I wasn't expecting to have to rewrite it. But after this experience, I've realized some things that need to change in my schedule. So I'm going to be working on that. And it's always a process, you know. Authors are just people who have flaws and lives as well too. And you know, the stuff in the Facebook group, I know we're over an hour, but the stuff in the Facebook group there was nothing terrible that happened. There was nothing like, oh, there's terrible drama, but it was just like a couple people. Like, I don't have any problem with people being like, oh man, that really sucks. I was looking forward to the book. That's fine. But when you start criticizing me in my own Facebook group, that starts to get kind of frustrating, I guess, or hurtful, because it's like, you know, you could have a fan group, and I'm sure some of you guys belong to fan groups that are not run by the author. They're just like fan groups for Harry Potter, or fan groups for Cassandra Clare, or fan groups for your favorite TV series. And they're run by fans. And that's like a forum for everybody to share what they think, good and bad, and criticize and all of that stuff. But when it comes to the Facebook group, this is my group, you know? And so it's different because this is something I run, and it's something that I see and read and am very invested in. And so it just feels like there is a line there between, not like I want to silence anybody, because if you want to say that you're disappointed, that's fine. But it's like, there's a way to say you're disappointed that still comes off kind, like, oh, that sucks, I was really looking forward to this book. And that's great. But when you say she never meets her deadlines and she spreads herself too thin and other ugly things about me, that's like judgment against me, which is really like, I think Carrie was, yes, Carrie's here. Maybe, I think Carrie, you were the one who mentioned it about having run a group before. And it's kind of like, I think it's a good thing to ask yourself before you post about being disappointed, is like, what are you trying to accomplish with this? If you just want to express your disappointment, it's fine to just say, oh man, I'm so disappointed, but I can't wait for it to come out when it gets here, or something like that. I have no problem with that. But when you say stuff like personal attack, what are you trying to accomplish other than upsetting me? It's just not appropriate in that particular space. There are other places where you could talk about your disappointment in that way that I think would be more appropriate. But it's a fine line. It's a fine line. And it's just a difficult line it's difficult to keep those boundaries in a group where we're starting to have like 3,500 people. And by next year, the end of next year, we might have 5,000 people. And it's going to get harder and harder to make sure. But I also want to make sure that if someone comes out and is like, what's going on with this book? That nobody is like, you have no right to ask her how it's going. Because like, it's a legitimate question. So it's just growing pains, I think, in some ways, but it's just one of those things of like, just think of who you're speaking to and say things nicely. And that's kind of the way it is. But most everybody has been incredibly lovely, and I appreciate it so much, because it was a disappointing thing for me to miss the deadline, but I promise the book is going to be great when it comes out. And I think I'm almost done with it. So I will keep you updated with it. And that is all I have for you guys today. We will be live again next week, which will be the day before George and I celebrate our 11th anniversary, which is going to be super fun. So we will have a little anniversary party here next weekend, and it's going to be awesome. But thank you guys for all the support. Thank you for coming back even after a little bit of a week break. Obviously, I know some of you have commented on it, but I do feel like so much better. I feel so much more energy, so much more passion coming back. And it's just a reminder that even if you can't go to Disney right now because of restrictions, it's still a good idea if you need and you're feeling burned out or you're feeling a little bit down to take some time for yourself and have a little bit of self-care. Like 2 nights in that hotel after the kids went to bed, I went into that bath and I got it super hot and had the jets on, and George went down to the gift shop and got me 2 glasses of wine, and I had my crystals all around, and it's like, that was like medicine, right? So it was awesome. And I did see somebody ask, I think it was Alexandria, did I get all of the giveaways out? I did not get all of them out, but I got a lot of them out. If you have not gotten a tracking number in your email yet, yours has not left the building, but that is on George and I's plan for tonight. So hopefully the rest of them will go out tomorrow. Andrew, put that down. That's crystal. I don't want it to break. Thank you. He's got my Swarovski crystal Hello Kitty in his hand. Also, the postcards are all going out in the morning as well. So all of those are going out. The Beautiful Demons books, paperbacks, I had to order 120, 108-ish, 110. Those are delayed by Amazon, but they said they will be sending them early January. So as soon as those are out, I will get those out. But most of the giveaways will be out by Monday at the latest. So you should be seeing a giveaway tracking number coming your way. And if you don't see something by Monday, feel free to reach out and say, hey, I did win a paperback and I haven't seen a tracking number. It won't bug me at all, because I definitely don't want to miss anybody. They're going out later than planned, but you know, it happens. But yes, Janet, thank you so much for that. So that is it, you guys. Thank you all so much for coming. And yeah, so I see some people talking about your word. Next week, we can talk about my word for 2021 and why I choose a word every year, because that'll be super fun to talk about. But thank you guys for being here. Thanks for being a part of the community and for being so understanding about the book. It is really going to be great. And I have some really good ideas. And the final battle turned out really badass. And I know you're going to love it. So it's going to be fun. All right, you guys. I will see you next week. You want to say bye? All right. Bye, you guys. Woo. And come join me tomorrow on the live stream if you get a chance. All right. See you later. Bye. Bye.